Welcome to the great month of March. So thank you everyone for joining our webinar today. My name is Mark Sadkowski and I am the president of RapidScale, and I'm extremely excited to present Infrastructure as a Service, or our product name of CloudServer, and a deep dive into how to sell this great product set and make a ton of money in commissions. As usual, I've got Ms. Summer Fagone, our marketing manager, on the line with me today. Summer will be taking all of your questions. So if you have questions today, please go ahead and use the GoToWebinar questions tab, and she will keep an eye on those and let us know what's going on, and we'll try to get them answered as we go through the presentation this morning or afternoon if you're on the West Coast or on the East Coast. As always, guys, this webinar is being recorded. It will be up on our partner portal within 24 hours. And everyone who registered today will go ahead and get a copy of the slide deck sent to you. So without further ado, let's talk about CloudServer, or Infrastructure as a Service. As you may or may not know, the cloud is taking off. I think most people on the call know that, and that's probably why you're here today. But we just continue to see a huge uptick in Infrastructure as a Service. As an organization, it's RapidScale's #1 revenue line item. We have a ton of customers who are using us as infrastructure, and our goal today on this webinar is to walk you through why Infrastructure as a Service is becoming more and more a mainstream choice from all of your customers, and the benefits that your customers are going to have by taking advantage of moving their production or their disaster recovery workloads into an infrastructure play with RapidScale. So first off, let's talk about what we're seeing out there in the marketplace. And Summer has gone out and pulled a lot of great information for us, and that's the first slide we're looking at today, ladies and gentlemen. So this first point is a big one. It shows you that customers in general are not going out, or they are still buying servers, but we're starting to see it decline. So we've seen it drop 6% in 2016. And the belief on our side, and most of the experts, is that people are no longer buying servers because they're moving their workloads to Infrastructure as a Service with big players like RapidScale, AWS, Microsoft Azure, IBM SoftLayer, etc. And we expect to see this trend continue into 2017 and beyond. And a big part about why this is happening. So a lot of you on the call may not be extremely in touch with the IT side of the equation when customers are spending capital to buy servers. But what we've seen happen over the last 2 years is the trend from an economical standpoint is that you actually get a bigger bang for your buck if you go and you lease space from somebody like RapidScale or our competition and move your server production there. What we've seen is we continue to see pricing drop, and of course we build our infrastructure out aggressively to stay up with the demand from our customers. But your average customer, that customer who's got 200, 300, 400 employees, they're not seeing the same decline in pricing that we're seeing, because obviously pricing is always driven by volume. Therefore, we look at a lot of what we call mid-market customers, and we call them 100 users and up. Those mid-market customers are not seeing the same benefit in being able to go out to their traditional VARs or their traditional OEMs and buy that equipment and see deep discounts. They are now looking at buying or leasing space with RapidScale, and when you look at a 3 or a 5 year discounted cash flow or total cost of ownership relationship to that equipment, it actually makes more economical sense to go ahead and move to an IT as a consumption model and buy infrastructure from us. So it's pretty straightforward, but we really want to drive that point home today, that if you're not talking to your clients and your customers about this, other people are. So do yourself a huge favor and make sure you're getting involved in this conversation with all of your current clients and, of course, with your prospective clients. A couple of other big pieces that we found when we did our research for the webinar today. We're looking at the amount of growth that we see here. And the fourth line item here, the quarterly cloud infrastructure services revenue piece, reached over $8 billion a quarter, and that was based off of looking at the really big public companies, and I believe it was Synergy where we found that quote, and that's documented down in the right-hand side. Guys, $8 billion and continuing to grow at a 50% clip per year. That's an amazing revenue trend for all of these large cloud companies and RapidScale. So again, if you're not in this conversation, do yourself a favor and start talking to your clients about it. We continue to see a huge uptick, and more of our customers are coming to us and moving these workloads over to RapidScale literally on a daily basis. So why are customers doing it, right? That's really the big piece of the puzzle here. The economics of it are always a part of the decision-making process. We all know that on this call. We're all sales professionals. But beyond the economics, that it makes more sense to go ahead and buy infrastructure from a company like RapidScale than to go out and buy that capital yourself or spend that capital and buy those servers. That's obviously a huge pillar in all this. But take a look at this other side, this next slide, I'm sorry, and look at the other reasons why customers are doing this. The key bullet point that's not outlined here, but it's something that we always talk about when we're talking to our clients or our prospective clients, is IT consumption. So just to give a quick background for those of you who are not in the IT space today or just getting into the IT space today, your typical buying process for a company who goes out and buys servers, right? You have to, it's a pretty long, detailed process for most of these companies. The bigger they get, the longer and more detailed the process is. So I'm going to give you all a great example here. If you're a IT director or an IT vice president and your equipment is coming end of life, right? That's a big reason why companies are looking to go to the cloud. The servers that they have in their data center, or even more so in their own offices, kind of scary, right? We think about multiple points of failure. If we have customers, and I literally was on a call with a client yesterday, and he's running a mini data center in his office, and he was very concerned. The question of what keeps you up at night came up during our conversation, and he said, "Listen, he's in the Northeast, and they're in a nice building, but it's got a single power supply coming from the power company, right? Not any dual entrances. He has no backup generators. He does have a battery backup for himself in his own office." And he has a single internet connection coming into that office. What I mean by that is no multiple carriers have pulled fiber into the building, so he is with the local LEC, and they are running on the local LEC's infrastructure to get in and out. So if we just take a second and we look at those multiple points of failure for this customer, he has a good reason to be nervous. He has a good reason to think, if I have a power outage, if I have a fiber cut, if I have any of these other things, my business is down. So that was his driving factor to move to the cloud, and we're real excited that he'll be coming on board with us. And he's not a big client, guys. They have 35 employees, and he today has 4 physical servers, of which he's running about 15 virtual machines off those. And it is end of life. So his decision is move to the cloud. And I talked to him about it a little bit. I said, so, you know, when you bought these servers 5 years ago, which is when he bought them, how did you buy them? And his answer was simple. I go in front of my board of directors, which my CFO is, you know, the driving factor on approving purchases, which makes a lot of sense. And when I go to buy equipment, Mark, I don't buy it for what I need today. I have to buy equipment with the idea of how's my company going to grow over the next 3 to 5 years. So what that means to everybody on the call is IT directors and IT managers and IT vice presidents are always overbuying when they come up time for budget. They're doing this so that as their companies grow and they scale, they don't have to go back to the CFO and back to the finance committee and purchase more equipment. That's a very big challenge to do, especially if you run out of space and you're looking at, you know, buying more storage or buying another server for your compute power. These aren't small purchases. They generally are very expensive. So one of the biggest benefits you get when you move to infrastructure as a service, or as we call it, CloudServer, It's an IT consumption model. You buy what you need today. It's an operating expense, not a capital expense. Therefore, as your business grows, which makes complete logical sense, that if I'm growing my business and I add 10, 15, 20 employees, I'm going to need more compute and more storage power to serve my internal customers, which are my employees. When you move to an infrastructure as a service play, you actually are allowed, or not allowed, you have the advantage of scaling up as you need it. So you don't have to go out and buy a huge server and think, over the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I'm going to need to grow by 40, 50, 60%. Well, what happens if you don't grow, right? That's called underutilization. And what happens if you grow too quickly? You have to go and make more capital purchases. So a big portion of what we do when we sit and talk to clients today, and our solution engineering team is phenomenal at doing this, guys. So if you haven't used our solution engineers on a call yet, please, please take advantage of them. They are fantastic at sitting down with customers and looking at their utilization based off of their inventory and pointing out that they're running, at 40 or 50% utilization, which, to be truthful, is just wasted capital, guys. So a big driving factor when you're talking to clients is understanding how utilization works, understanding IT as a consumption model. It's a great way to go. Scalability is huge when it comes to cloud, right? So that's a big portion of what customers are looking for. Not only do they want to scale up, guys, but occasionally when businesses have a downturn, they have to scale down. And we've talked to several customers that went through the recession, over the last decade, and they had a ton of compute power, a ton of servers that, because the economy turned down, those servers just sat there basically idle, and they had no choice but to continue to pay for them, continue to update them and patch them, continue to keep the maintenance going on them, right? So all of this is real hard dollar expenses. When you peel that onion back and you talk to customers, you want to be able to dive in deep. And again, take advantage of RapidScale and our solution engineering team, because they are phenomenal at doing this, and they will help you show the customer why it's a great decision to move from a on-premise or a capital expenditure into a data center into the cloud. So let's just touch on the other pieces here. Again, improve your business continuity and your disaster recovery. The minute you go into a cloud solution set, you're in, with RapidScale, a Tier 3 data center. I'm sure everybody on the call is familiar with data centers and their tiering, but a Tier 3 data center is basically Fort Knox, right? It's got dual power supplies. It simply has them coming from a single power company, but they're off of 2 grids, right? So they're off of 2 different power stations coming into the data center in 2 different points of entry. That's big, guys, because there are power outages all the time. We're here in California. We're headquartered in Irvine. And during the last summer, we were worried about brownouts. The power grid was being taxed, right? Everybody is running their AC, and the power grid, the power company, who here is Edison, starts sending emails out saying, back off of your consumption of power, guys, or we're going to start browning out parts of the region, because we have to, because we can't keep up with the demand. So moving into that kind of a data center environment, and again, here at RapidScale, we're all Tier 3 data centers, increases the reliability and the resiliency of that customer's infrastructure, right? When you get inside of that data center, from a power perspective, all of our data centers have multiple diesel generators that if we lost power from both grids, we could continue to operate for 7 days under a full load based off of those generators running, right? And then we have battery. It's all clean power, right? So it all comes through the battery groups, and then the batteries are charged up, and that's what goes ahead and powers all of the servers that are inside of the data center. And we have dual power grids inside of the data center, right? And just everything has a duplicate or a resilient factor into it. Now, when you look at customers like the one I talked to yesterday who's running out of his office, right? He's got a mini data center built there. No raised floor, by the way. It's in a back room somewhere. He does have AC on it, so that's good for him. But the reality of it is he knows for a fact that he could lose his production environment at any time. So again, what's keeping your customers up at night? And redundancy and resiliency is always on the mind of anybody in IT who's in a decision-making position. Not your IT tech, not your system admin, they don't worry about that. The people whose jobs are on the line worry about resiliency and redundancy. So let's touch on just one other piece here. Better security, right? When you move into a cloud environment like RapidScale, obviously security is huge to us, you guys. We are all about protecting our customers' data, making sure that people aren't hacking into it. And when you have a company like ours, you've got a security team, right? We're looking at this every single day. It's not an IT technician who has it as part of their job description. It's a team that's keeping an eye on this and making sure that all of your customers' data is as secure as it can possibly be. For us, again, those of you who don't know, we run a FlexPod architecture. We run all NetApp on our storage, and it's all SSD, and it's all fully encrypted, right? So all of the data is encrypted at rest and in flight, and that's government-grade encryption, ladies and gentlemen. So again, we're looking at customers who are doing it themselves versus moving over to a cloud solution. You're going to get more bang for your buck when you move to the cloud. And these are just, you know, a couple of key points for you to look at when you're talking to clients. Those of you who I've spoken to in the last 6 or 12 months, one of the things we've seen happen in the marketplace is a huge market shift, right? We've been around for 8 years, guys. I've been with RapidScale for 5.5 now. And when we first came into this marketplace, boy, did we have to try to convince customers that the cloud was an option, right? Nowadays, today, literally right now, an IT director or an IT manager or a vice president of an IT division who goes in front of his board and says, or his CFO or CEO, whomever it may be, and says, I want to buy equipment and I want to house it in a data center, he or she is now having to say why, right? Because cloud is not only an option, it is the preferred option of the C-suite. They understand all of these items we're talking to you guys about today better than a lot of the IT teams do. So it's a perfect time for you all to pounce, jump in there, and add additional revenue to your current business. Believe me when I tell you, every customer has a need for infrastructure as a service. It might be a test dev environment. It might be web servers. There are always needs for these customers to look at moving a workload into the cloud. So take advantage of it. Ask the right questions, and you will be rewarded with new business from your current customers and your prospective clients. So RapidScale's infrastructure as a service. Again, I touched on a bunch of this a few moments ago. Sorry about that. I jumped ahead a slide. I didn't catch myself. But what are we looking at here? It's everything I just touched on. When are customers ready? Aging hardware, right? They need a refresh. And by the way, when you get into the larger customers, call them mid-market, small enterprise, typically they're refreshing equipment not in a big bunch. They've learned over the years that they have a refresh cycle maybe every year that they're putting a new server in or a couple of servers in or a new SAN in to avoid having that huge one-time capital expenditure, right? They've broken it out and they do it yearly or every other year, and they continue to update. So there's always a chance for a refresh, guys. Any customer who is growing or scaling, they are a perfect opportunity for you to talk about infrastructure as a service. Again, at RapidScale, we run our data centers at about 60–65% capacity. What does that mean to you and your clients? It means we can scale up with anything they need. We don't have to go out and buy additional blades or buy additional chassis. We are in a position to scale for any of our customers' needs and be able to give them what they need immediately. Now, I mentioned before about the IT buying cycle, right? When customers are buying equipment, it's a long cycle. Typically, it's going to be 6 months or more from the inception of saying we're going to go buy to putting out for a lot of clients a request for proposal, going to multiple vendors, vetting those vendors, going through meetings with those vendors, making a decision on which vendor they're going to go with. Then they have to procure the equipment. Then they have to obtain the equipment. Then once the equipment gets there, they have to update it, patch it. They have to bring it all up to spec. Then they have to go deploy that equipment, right? They have to go to their data center and rack all of that equipment up. Once they have all that new equipment in, now they have to test the equipment, right? So you can understand very quickly how this could be a 6-month-long process or more. When you're in the cloud, that goes away. Hey, I need 2 more virtual machines because I'm going to run a new application on them. Okay, go into the portal, bam, your 2 machines are there, they're up, they're updated, they're patched, they're ready to go. So we go from months to minutes, and that's huge for IT teams that are heavily taxed. We'll talk more about that in a few moments. Limited capital. So it's so much fun when we sit and we talk about capital when we talk to customers. And it's not talking about capital spends with the IT manager or director. It's talking about it with the CFO or the CEO of the company. If you ask them, you want to invest $200,000 in new equipment or $200,000 elsewhere into your business that's going to create more revenue, what do you think the answer is every time? It's obvious, right? They want to put that money into their business that's going to grow their business, that's going to create profitability for them. IT is a standard. Every company needs it. But again, if you ask that CFO or that CEO, would he rather put 200 grand into physical servers, or would he rather go hire 2 more salespeople to go out and sell their product sets? Every time, guys, they're going to go with, I'd rather go hire the salespeople and grow my revenue. It's just common sense, and it's common business sense. So why go with RapidScale? Well, enterprise-grade security is huge. Again, we have customers that come on board, and we're a VMware shop, as most of you know, and we have customers that come on board, and they're very happy with VMware's standard firewall. They don't have any concerns. They're like, hey, it's a firewall, it'll work, that's great. We're also a FortiGate shop, right? So we sell Fortinet firewalls. These are premium firewalls that have a lot more security, and we can add full UTM packages onto them. That's Unified Threat Management, for those of you who aren't aware of it, and really lock down that customer, right? Really give them a very, very secure environment for their business, and a lot of customers are looking for that. New apps to users faster, 100%. Just like I said, when you're rolling a new application out and you've got to put it on new infrastructure, that's 6 to 12 months, guys. When you're doing it in a cloud environment, that is 6 hours to 6 days, depending on what their testing schedule is and everything else. It just makes more sense to move to infrastructure as a service for the majority of customers out there. And again, we talked about our smart build data centers. For those of you who aren't aware, we have 3 domestic data centers. They're geographically positioned for redundancy across the country. 1 in Irvine, California, 1 in Dallas, Texas, 1 in Sterling, Virginia. We're also a global shop, guys. We have data centers in Hong Kong and Amsterdam as well. So we build out into new data centers, and let me make a point here so everybody is aware. We're not into brick and mortar. We don't build our own data centers. We let companies like Digital Realty and Savvis and Terramark and TierPoint, who are data center professionals, build them, and then we just go in and we lease cages out of them. So we can build a data center anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world that we have a demand from customers. And that's really important to speak to RapidScale's flexibility and our desire to serve your clients the best way we can. We have probably today 2 more data centers, in our line of sight for 2017 here in the domestic U.S., and both of them are being delivered or looked at based on anchor customers. Those are, nice size enterprise customers. Typically, they're buying desktop as a service from us, and we want to be able to give them the best performance and the best experience. So if we have a 1,000-user desktop client and they are in Chicago, Illinois, we're going to look at building out into Chicago, Illinois to serve that customer. It makes sense for us as an organization. It gives us another point of presence, gives us more redundancy, more resiliency. And then once we build that data center based off of that customer coming in, now we can go sell additional customers in that marketplace that we have our data center right here and local to you. So I ask any of you on the call today, if you've got that kind of an anchor customer and they are looking at IT as a service, cloud solutions, desktop infrastructure, please engage your channel managers, or as we've relabeled them, your partner experience managers around the U.S. We are here to help you guys. We want to build out more. We want to be in more POPs around the country and globally. So if you have that customer, jump on the phone. Talk to Andrew Lauder, our director of the East Coast. Talk to Matthew Coso, our partner experience manager in the Northeast. Heidi Knowles, she's our partner experience manager in the Southeast. You've got Paul Overstreet, who's our partner experience manager in the Central. And then you have Chris Morera and Andrew Davis running the West Coast for us. Talk to us. Reach out to us, guys. We're here to help you. We're here to grow your business and ours together. So, big question for a lot of customers out there today. Do more with less, right? If you go into most mid-market and SMB customers and enterprise customers today, you see this battle, for lack of a better term, between IT and the executive team, right? The executive team wants them to do more with less resources, and they want them to leverage their vendors like RapidScale and take advantage of economies of scale. And if there has never been a better example of economies of scale than infrastructure as a service, you guys. IT consumption, right? I only buy what I need. We'll talk in a moment here about management, right? If you look at a typical organization with 500 employees, they have 5 or 6 IT professionals on staff. 1 or 2 of those people's jobs every day is to manage those end users and manage that infrastructure. You're talking, in a regional market, a tier 2, tier 3 market, you're talking $60,000, $70,000 in salary plus benefits. Bake it all in, call it $100,000. In a tier 1 market like New York or California or LA or Dallas, Texas or Chicago, Illinois or Miami, Florida, those prices go up. And you're looking at paying somebody, let's just call it $75,000 for easy numbers, $75,000 to manage that infrastructure. That's what they do every day. They make sure it's healthy, it's up, it's running, and that everybody can connect to it, et cetera, et cetera. Well, let's just say they have 20 virtual machines. We'll manage those guys for $100 a machine or $2,000 a month or $24,000 a year. That is economies of scale. It only makes sense to offload that management to RapidScale and then redeploy that IT asset into a revenue-generating position for their company. And by the way, how many of you out there think that the IT teams who are stuck with handling help desk and handling infrastructure monitoring and maintenance and upkeep love their jobs? They don't, guys. It's mundane. You didn't get into IT to make sure that all the blinky lights were working. You got into IT because you're creative. You want to do great things. You want to leverage technology to increase and enhance profitability. That's across the spectrum. So we look at this and we help those customers take advantage of this and solve their business problem internally. So why RapidScale CloudServer? Eliminating physical servers, no-brainer, right? Why am I buying? So if we look at colo, right? A lot of you on the call today are into colo. You sell a bunch of colo. And colo isn't slowing down, guys. More and more customers are moving to colo every day. Why are they moving to colo? We've talked about it, right? If you're running in a data center in your own office, you have too many points of failure. Your security is too low. There are just a million reasons to move into colo. Well, the next part of that evolution is moving those workloads into the cloud, right? Get them off of your own gear and put them on to RapidScale's gear. Financially, it makes more sense. And when you look at the workload and the distribution and the economies of scale, it makes a ton of sense to move it to a cloud company like RapidScale. Enterprise level infrastructure. So not to get all tech speak here and tech geek here, but I will tell you this. When we talk to our customers who are do-it-yourselfers, right? These are the people who have IT teams They really don't look at RapidScale to do the managed piece. They really say, we've got a team, we'll do it. We just want to move on to your infrastructure. And the reason is we want to take advantage of that powerful FlexPod enterprise infrastructure, right? For us to go out and buy it ourselves would cost us $1 million. We can portion off part of it with you for 20, 25,000, 10, 5,000, whatever piece they need. And they don't have to worry about updating it and refreshing it because we do all that, right? So enterprise level infrastructure is a big reason that a lot of mid-market and small enterprise customers look to come to us. We already touched on the physical security of the data center, no brainer. That's a big reason people come, but right there, the picture I want to point out here, guys. While our focus and our differentiation is fully managed cloud solutions, we have a boatload of customers who are do-it-yourselfers who come on board with RapidScale, and they manage and they maintain and they do everything themselves. They do it all through our portals, right? So just like our competition, you can go into the RapidScale portal and literally spin up a server in a matter of minutes. Add a premium firewall, connect it to a VPN, upload your applications, and you're ready to go. So don't think we're only fully managed, because we have a lot of customers, and they're typically larger, who come and use us solely for our platform. So we are available for that as well, ladies and gentlemen. So we're about halfway through. Just a quick reminder, Summer is at the ready for any of your questions, and I don't think we've had any yet. Summer, have we had any questions?
Nope, we haven't.
No questions? None yet, okay. And we're recording this webinar, so it will be available on the partner portal for you within 24 hours. Additionally, everybody who registered today will get a copy of this deck emailed to them. So if you're frantically taking notes, don't worry, you don't have to. We're going to send it to you. So what's included in our management? And this question comes up a lot, and I'm going to give you guys a real-life example. Customers who want us to manage their environments are typically IT teams that are being very stretched, right? Financially, it makes sense for us to management. That's not even a question. But you still have those IT teams out there who have somebody whose job it is to manage it, and they don't want to replace that person. They don't want to let go of that person, and they're going to try to keep that person in place. That's fine. Again, we have a whole team of engineers who do this every day. This is what they do. So what's included? Operating system management of 100%, troubleshooting, right? If it's a managed customer and they have a problem with us, or if it's an unmanaged customer, to be fair, guys, and I'll talk about the difference in a minute, we are an extension of their team. So they have a problem, they pick up the phone, they call into the help desk, they get a live technician on the call, and that person goes in and starts to troubleshoot the issue they're having with their server. And more often than not, it's not a server or infrastructure problem, it's an application problem, right? Something is not working properly in the application. Well, unlike our competition, we don't want to walk away from our customers. We want to give them the best service we can. That's why we have a client experience team, right? We have a team, also AKA account management. But our client experience team is all about serving our clients. So we'll actually work with the client and the original equipment manufacturer or software manufacturer of the application and help them troubleshoot it out. Help them figure out what happened and why isn't this working the way it's supposed to. Now, sometimes there are professional services tied to that, but most of the time it's a quick fix. We get all the parties on the line together, we figure out what the problem is, and we fix it, and the customer goes on about their day. And, of course, they think, wow, RapidScale is a great company to work with. For those of you who don't know, we're extremely proud of having a 95.7% average customer satisfaction rating in 2016 from all of our customers who opened trouble tickets with us. Now think about that, guys. These are people who opened a ticket, so they had a problem, and we're darn near 96% satisfied. Satisfied means we got 4 out of 4 stars. That's phenomenal, and we are extremely proud of that. How does that relate and help all of you on the call today? You can rest assured that if you bring a customer on board with RapidScale and they're a managed customer, we are going to take great care of them. Well, Mark, you keep saying manage, manage, manage. What about those who are unmanaged? Will you help them? Of course we will, guys. It's our vision, it's our mission statement to be the most client-focused company in the industry. So we're always going to help them. But we're talking about engineers who are very expensive. So if they're not a managed client and they call us for help, we're going to help them, but they are going to get charged a professional services engagement. Depending on what their problem is, that can range from $99 an hour to $250 an hour. Again, it makes a lot of sense to go with the managed route, but we don't mind if they want to do it themselves. We'll still help them. We do the automatic updates for them. We work with them on their patches. We'll configure their virtual IP addresses for them. The domain integration, we'll do that at setup for them. We'll integrate into their domains. If they're a managed customer and they want to add additional domain controllers, we'll help integrate those as well. Active Directory configuration. So I've been doing this 5+ years, guys, and I can safely tell you Active Directory is a nightmare for most customers. They think it's a set it and forget it type of a thing. In reality, Active Directory is a dynamic, moving, fluid thing for every business out there with more than 50 employees. I cannot tell you how many times we've taken a client on and looked at their Active Directory and been like, oh my goodness, when's the last time anybody paid attention to this? And they looked at us and said, like 5 years ago. So we'll do that whole configuration and cleanup for them in the beginning. That is part of our implementation process. And of course, there are professional services tied around that. But once we've done that for them, we'll keep that Active Directory up and we'll continue to work with them as a managed client. VPN configurations, domain control migrations. So management is the way to go. Trust me when I tell you your customers are thinking this. If you're dealing with an IT admin or a system admin or an IT manager, they don't want to do this, guys. They don't want to do this, but they're going to do this because they think that this is job security, right? And let our engineering team help you help them make their lives easier, right? At the end of the day, we help solve problems. That's what we do here at RapidScale. And a big problem is being overstretched as an IT team. So we talked about this briefly. Here's a nice little infographic on where we're at. Again, all Tier 3 data centers. Again, we do smart builds, guys. So if you've got that big customer out there and they're looking at saying, hey, you know, I really want a data center in Seattle, Washington. That's part of my decision-making process. I have to have the local data center here close to me because of application latency, et cetera. Don't think we won't build for you and for your customer. We will. We will take a serious look at it. Now, to be fair to us, if it's a $2,000 customer, guys, we're not going to build. If it's a $25,000 customer, we're going to build. And if it's between those ranges, we're going to look at it and we're going to look at the marketplace and say, does it make sense here for RapidScale to make a huge investment in building out another data center? And again, my team is chomping at the bit to do this. So if you have those customers and prospects, think about it. Bring them to us, guys. We are here to help you. Okay. So what's our platform? Wow, why is RapidScale good at what they do? Well, it's best of breed, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we're a VMware shop for a reason. VMware is the biggest, baddest bull in the pin. You know, Microsoft Hyper-V is great. We love Citrix. We're a huge Citrix partner. You've got the Zen hypervisor. It's great. But we went with the biggest dog there is because they are the best at what they do. So we run all VMware. Of course, we're a Microsoft partner. We have to be, right? Windows 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, 2012 R2. We even have some customers running 2003. Ouch, they shouldn't be. That's end of life, end of support from Microsoft, but they have applications that require it. Again, we are endpoint management. We do everything. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. It'll come back to me. We manage all of our endpoints, obviously, guys. And if we have a customer come on board and they're a full-blown Autotask, I got it, I remembered. If they're a full-blown managed customer and they have virtual desktops with us, we'll even go as far as to managing their workstations for them, right? That's huge, guys. That releases so much off of that IT team. And trust me, they want to be able to have, somebody taught me this about a year ago, one back to pat. I always used to say one throat to choke. But they want to have a single organization who is not just their vendor, but their partner. That's what we do here at RapidScale, right? our largest customers look at our engineering team as an extension of their IT team. Those are customers for life. What does that mean for everybody on this call? It's all about residual income, ladies and gentlemen. Those are customers for life. You thought that selling a customer storage or a server or an MPLS solution or a hosted VoIP solution made them sticky. Trust me, give us a chance and let us get their IT. They don't leave, guys. In 2016, my attrition rate was less than 1%, which is phenomenal across any industry and any business. And that's all about our client focus. It's all about our client support. So rounding out this slide, realizing I've got 20 minutes left and keeping an eye on the clock. Backup and replication, the two biggest dogs in the yard, Zerto and DoubleTake. We love them both. Zerto is our go-to for virtual-to-virtual replication. It's probably running on about 70% of our customers today. And then we have DoubleTake as well. DoubleTake is awesome. They're the old reign, right? They're the old guard. They've been doing this longer, and they are the best game in town for physical to virtual replication. So we work with both of them, and we're a big partner to both of them, and we have support from both of them. So we're there with our great partners to deliver a great service for your customers. Citrix, AquaConnect, VMware, that's our virtualization orchestration layer, right? So not only do we do Citrix, it's 90% of our customers who do virtual desktops are Citrix or more. Excuse me. But we'll also do VMware. So if you have a customer who requires VMware orchestration, PC over IP, we will do that for them as well, guys. And then we have partners who are just engineering marvels. So AquaConnect is a partner of ours that does Mac virtualization. So yes, we can virtualize Macs if you're a Mac OS company. Do we do a lot of it? No. Why not? Because a lot of people don't want to virtualize their Macs, and it's expensive. But that's what RapidScale brings to the party, right? We can do all of that for you. And of course, rounding out the virtualization of desktops, we're a Microsoft shop, guys. So if they want to do traditional terminal services and RDS, we can do that for them all day long. So moving on. Hyperconvergence. Oh, hyperconvergence. Love hyperconvergence. So I travel the country and the world now, guys, and I would tell you, in all of my travels and seeing partners all over the country and, you know, in Canada and Latin America, everybody's asking, what is RapidScale's hyperconvergence play? What are you guys going to do? So the reality is we're looking at it, right? As an organization, we have to stay cutting edge. We have to stay relevant. Hyperconvergence, you know, summarizing it for you, it's a pre-integrated computer and storage solution set to customers. It's very inexpensive. It allows us to really scale up into that enterprise workplay. Most of our customers aren't looking at it today, to be fair. So we are looking at it. We're going to roll something out here in the future. It's not anything on the roadmap for the next 2 quarters, but maybe by the end of the year we'll have a HCI play. It is certainly growing, and we see more and more customers, more and more vendors offering it to their customers. So again, our job for you as your pure cloud play, we need to stay relevant, so we're certainly going to look at it. So speaking of staying relevant, who's the competition, right? You're all here on the call today. You're all in the channel. And you would probably expect to see different names up here when I look at my competition. But the reality is this is my competition, guys. AWS. Now, this is from 2015, and we know for a fact that they've lost market share to all of us, but especially to Azure. But in 2015, they had 70% of the market when it came to infrastructure as a service. That's just amazing. Microsoft had 10, Rackspace had 5, IBM had 5, and we're part of the others at 7.4. But this is who I compete with. We love our friendly competition at, you know, our guys at Navisite, who are our friends in desktop as a service. Good people. We work against them. Win, lose, we probably do a 50-50 with them. Great guys. You'd probably expect them to see them up here. Evolve IP, for those of you who know Evolve IP, great leadership team over there. Scott Kinka is not only a friendly competitor, but a friend. We love to see those guys in deals against us. But when we're really talking about competition, we're talking Amazon and Microsoft, guys, because that's who your customers know. The only reason they know RapidScale and thank you is because you've introduced us to them. We do not have a direct sales force. We are channel only. We've chosen that for a reason, and we believe the channel is the best procurement arm in the industry. You guys are the best sales professionals in the industry, and we are doing great with working with you. But when you talk to any customer, and I would tell you, I'm telling you honestly, I sit in front of clients at least once a week, and Amazon or Microsoft is always in the conversation. So this is who we look at as competition and who we have to beat. So how do we beat them? How in the world does RapidScale beat Amazon? How do they beat Microsoft? How do we beat Rackspace? It's the fully managed play, guys. 100% the fully managed play is why we beat them. Amazon, to their own testament, is a do-it-yourself web services company. Very, very limited support. And matter of fact, we've got a partner out of New Jersey, and we're talking with a client right now who is being pushed to Amazon by his CEO, and he's like, I don't like Amazon. I don't know how to work it. I don't have the skill sets. Give me a compelling offer, Mark, and we'll go your way, right? So the reality is if you listen to your clients, they'll let you know what they're looking for. And guys, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, Amazon's great. You want to do a test dev environment, pay for it by the minute? Amazon's terrific at that, right? Spin up a server for 2 hours, spin it down. Amazon's great. At RapidScale, we look at customers' production. We look at their workloads. That's where we want to play. Microsoft Azure, different spin. Still do it yourself to a degree, but they certainly, you can purchase for a very hefty premium. You can purchase support from them. And I put Rackspace on here because Rackspace pivoted about a year and a half ago. And Rackspace is now managing workloads in Amazon and Microsoft. Interesting. With RapidScale, we have the technology. Our new orchestration portal for CloudServer or infrastructure as a service will allow us to manage workloads in Amazon and Microsoft. We don't have it on our line card today because we want to be able to control the customer's experience. We love having 100% uptime SLA, and the minute we move off of our enterprise infrastructure and onto anybody else's, we lose that. But again, if you have a customer and that's what they're looking for, don't think we can't come to the table and have an appetizer and talk. Please include us. Reach out to your channel manager and have them get engaged with you. Our biggest drivers, guys, why we win, 100% uptime SLA, fully managed offerings, and the customer client experience. That's why we win. As a matter of fact, won a deal out of Houston just this last week with a great partner down there. I'm gonna quote the customer. We were in a competitive environment, and the customer said, I like the fact that I could do business with RapidScale where I've met the president of the company. I like that. I'm more comfortable doing business with you than doing business with one of these giants, because if I have a problem, I've got your business card and I can call you. And guys, we're 24/7, 365. And that's not just the help desk. That's every employee who works here. So yes, I do answer my phone when it rings at 2 in the morning. And I'm very proud to say it hasn't rang at 2 in the morning in quite some time, because the team is awesome. The help desk team is phenomenal. Why do they have a 96% approval rating? They handle the problems. When an issue comes up, they handle it, they take care of it, and they make the customer happy. But we are here, guys. That's how we win against the big guys. And believe me, the customer is looking at the big guys. So be comfortable that if you bring us in the door, we can win with you against any player in the space. So who's our ideal customer? really 50 employees to 2,000. And I know that sounds like a huge range, but if you really take a look at it and you sector that out, this is where I made the comment earlier today. Do more with less is hitting these people more than anybody else. That 50-person business is lucky to have one IT guy. That 2,000-person business is lucky to have 15. When you get to 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, 20,000 employees, they have huge IT teams, guys. We can still win there, but again, our real value proposition of offloading a lot of that work, it doesn't make sense at the super enterprise level. Top sectors, healthcare should be number one, but that's okay. Manufacturing, we've got a ton of manufacturing customers. Manufacturing is a good number one as well, because if the servers go down, if the applications don't work, that business drives to a halt, right? It really does. So we are extremely important in manufacturing. In healthcare, man, oh man, has the compliances and regulations really put a stranglehold on these businesses. So I would say a ton of our healthcare customers want to do business with us because of our HIPAA knowledge and our extensive auditing that we've gone through with our customers. Finance, up-and-coming vertical, guys, it is getting hot. If you have regional banks, you have investment houses, let's talk. They are now starting to move to the cloud at an extremely quick clip. Hospitality has always been good for us. Here are some qualifying questions. I'm not going to read them to you because you all are going to get the deck by the end of business today, and it'll be on the partner portal within 24 hours. So key characteristics, you know, flexibility and resources, we've beaten that horse to death. Scaling, we've beaten that to death. You know, limited capital, yes, that's a good reason to go to the cloud as well. Compliance needs, we really haven't talked about that yet. We have a ton of customers coming to us because RapidScale is an expert in compliances and delivering IT in compliant environments. We have more and more of our partners who have identified us as a key player, and they'll bring us and only us into certain customers, especially in the healthcare and the finance space. They're comfortable with RapidScale and our ability to deliver our service and deliver it within the compliancy regulations that are there. So speaking of compliancy, let's talk a quick closing note here. We will give you all a case study, and I love this one. This is an investment firm, guys. They're out of the Southeast. They're in the finance sector, obviously. They're a mid-market customer. They have an IT refresh coming up. They have a small IT team, and their primary application is really what brought us to the table with them. They have a trading application, and it is under FINRA, right? So FINRA is the finance. Oh, look at that. Something wants to install on my computer. Sorry, guys. FINRA is the compliancy for dealers, security dealers, brokers, option houses, etc. And they are strict, man. If you do not have that information on a trade, you are in big, big trouble. But that wasn't their biggest concern. Their biggest concern was if our application goes down, even for a matter of minutes, we are dead in the water. It's our trading application, and it will cost us not hundreds, not thousands, not tens of thousands, but hundreds of thousands of dollars per minute. Talk about getting Mark a little tense when we're in these conversations, right? So we first started talking to them all about DR. It was a DR play, right? They needed a DR solution. They were running everything out of their primary location, which was a nice data center. But as our engineering team got involved with them, and we'll give some kudos, this is Andrew Lauder's deal. As Andrew peeled that onion back and got involved and got the rest of the team involved, we started looking at them and saying, why in the world, if it's that important to you, why in the world are you not hosting that with us? And the IT executive team said, that's really interesting, guys. Why aren't we? This would make a lot of sense for us to host that application with you. All your resiliency, all your redundancy. And then we're going to DR it to another data center, and it's going to be up in a matter of seconds if your primary data center fails. And by the way, they're paying for that, guys. It's not standard DR. That's pretty much an active-active environment, very close to it. They didn't want to go active-active for reasons. So it is a failover solution, but literally it fails over in a matter of minutes. if something happens at the primary. But here is a great customer that we would not even have been at the table with 2 years ago, right? Because nothing to do with RapidScale, nothing to do with this customer, everything to do with the industry they're in. Cloud was not accepted in their industry 2 years ago. There was too many questions around security and data sensitivity and FINRA violations and all these other things that they said just doesn't make sense. We're not comfortable. Fast forward 12 months ago, and this was a long one, guys. It took us about a year to close it. Fast forward 12 months ago, and these guys are looking at this and saying, this is a great deal. So I'm going to challenge everybody on the call today. Do you have any current customers that are in the financial vertical market sector? Or do you have any prospects that you're looking at in there? Or is this a area of focus for you and your company? RapidScale is your partner, guys. We are the best choice to bring into this sector. We can do it. We can handle it. We've got the referenceable customers. We've got a couple of banks running on us now. Banks, they wouldn't have looked at us at all 2 years ago. But the industry is changing. People are fast forwarding. So I challenge any of you who have a finance customer or prospect, give us a shot. Let us do a discovery call with you, with your customer, talk about their IT roadmap for 17 and 18, look at where they're looking at the cloud, and let's see if we can't strike a deal together with them. Matter of fact, first person who's registered to this webinar today, that brings us an opportunity. You can send it to your channel manager, you can send it to Summer, you can send it to me directly. The first opportunity we get, I'm going to send you a gift card. That's how excited we are about the financial sector and how well we play there. So gift card from Mark, and it's not a $5 Starbucks card. We'll give you something a little better than that. But we would love to have that opportunity to engage with you and your team and talk with you and your current customers or your future prospects. With that said, guys, I'm going to open it up for the last 3 minutes to Q&A. Summer, do we have any questions?
I just finished answering the last one that came in, so let's see if any more come in. Well, this might be a good one for you to address for everyone. In terms of top client sectors, do we see a big push into construction, architecture, or engineering firms?
Oh, wow. That is a great question. So whomever posted that, thank you. Yes. So construction, architecture, both of those ring pure of CAD. CAD is engineering software, guys. It's very heavy, and it requires a ton of computing power and processing. But yes, we have plenty of customers in that space, and we see more and more coming to it on a daily basis. And there are a couple of reasons why. Number one, Citrix has been focused on CAD for the last 5 years, and it screams in Citrix today. The reality is we have to buy beefier cards for the processing power. They're called NVIDIA cards, but they're huge on graphics processing. And we have those inside of our data centers today, so we can serve your clients now. It is more than a traditional desktop, and it's more than a traditional server when they're running these applications. It requires a ton of compute resources and a lot of storage. Part of the reason we went to the NetApp all-flash SSD had everything to do with performance for our customers who run virtual desktops, specifically those who are running CAD programs. So we no longer are limited by IOPS. Right now, we have the fastest storage available, and it performs very well. So yes, construction, architecture, all of that is growing and booming, and we would love to engage with you in those conversations. Great question. Thank you. Anything else, Ms. Sum?
Yes. How do you get around an existing on-prem IT company telling customers not to go to the cloud?
Ooh, great question. How do we get around that? Okay, several ways. First off, we talk to those IT companies every day, right? And we're talking about pivot, right? Y'all will see an email from me today about pivoting your business to the cloud. Most of those smaller MSPs, I lovingly call them two guys in a truck. They are now realizing that their customers are demanding cloud. And they can make money managing cloud on our infrastructure, right? So they don't have to give up their hourly or their block of hours or their retainer fee with those customers. They can now move them into the cloud and still support their local workstations, still drive by, make sure those routers and firewalls that are on-premise are working right. So I'd say the way we get around it is, A, we show them that they can partner with us and still be successful. B, when they're partnering with us and they're being successful, we also show them how they can actually take a vacation. They can leave now, right? Part of being a small IT company and a small MSP is you don't have a 24/7 help desk. You are that 24/7 help desk. That means you get phone calls. You don't take vacations. And you have to be ready to roll a truck to get to that customer. We show those partners that, hey, you don't have to roll a truck anymore. Now you have to pick up the phone and call up RapidScale's 24/7 help desk. We'll troubleshoot the server with you. We'll find the problem. We'll fix it. And you can stay in bed. So that's primarily how we get around them. But don't get me wrong, guys. I would be being dishonest if I didn't tell you that there's still a lot of really strong local IT guys who have convinced their customers that the cloud is bad and they don't want to go there, and they're not pivoting yet. But if you put us in front of them, the standard benefits and advantages of moving to the cloud ring true for those customers. And we certainly know how to go into those environments and not upset the apple cart, right? We can show them how we can partner with those IT companies and make a stronger customer statement and give the customer a better experience. Great question. Anything else, Summer?
I mean, only if you have time for it. What are your thoughts on AWS being down for 4 hours yesterday?
Wow. I have time for it. I'm gonna respectfully pass and say that problems happen. AWS is huge, and the reality, guys, is it's technology, and I would say that you're aware of it. Let's talk to the customers who were impacted, and let's show them alternative solutions with better uptime SLAs or a failover solution that they could have been up and running while AWS was down.
All right, I think it's time to wrap it up then.
All right. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining our monthly webinar. Don't forget, Dwayne Barnes, our Senior Vice President of Engineering, has a webinar coming up in 2 weeks. If you want to get smart, if you want to get technical, if you want to understand how all of this stuff really, really works, make sure you register for Dwayne's monthly webinar. It is all about the technical side of the house, and I highly recommend it for those of you. Even if you're not a technical person, join that call, guys. You will learn something. You will be better positioned in front of your customers, and you will be smarter for it. We look forward to seeing you all on April 1st. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. Make March huge for your business. Close your quarter well, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.